They're back on top all alone. Back on top of the national rankings, ranked #1, and back on top of the Mid-Central Conference after 2 straight league wins. Plus, on this week's edition of Inside Bethel Basketball, you meet 2 unsung heroes. One's on the court, one's off. You'll see them both in this week's edition of Inside Bethel Basketball. Hi, everybody. I'm WHME Sports Director Chuck Freeby alongside Bethel coach Mike Lightfoot. Welcome to another edition of Inside Bethel Basketball, and an exciting edition it is because the Pilots are playing some of their best basketball of the season. If you've been to the White Camp Center in the past week, you've seen some outstanding play from this Bethel team. And Mike, I know you always kind of downplay your team a little bit, and you probably say, oh, there's a lot of teams that could be #1. Your team has earned the honor with the way they've played.
They really have, and I look at our team and look at the progression they've made. I think we've really stepped things up in a lot of different areas, and our bench play has been huge for us, and we've seen a lot of good players come off the bench and give us quality minutes. And our defense continues to improve. If you have great defense, you're going to be in every game, and we've been fortunate enough to win them.
Well, and that defense really helped create the tempo last Saturday when the Pilots had a visit from longtime rival Goshen and the nation's 5th leading scorer Eric McCollum, but Goshen decided to play one-on-one with William Walker. And there's a mistake. He scored the first 9 points of the game.
He really got the ball inside to him. You know, that was a key for us, and there's a and-one situation. And we just really felt like, you know, if we were going to utilize the strength of getting William the ball inside, he's going to utilize his strength and take it to him, and he did exactly that.
And the thing is they focused more attention on him. That opened things up for other players, too, and your transition game was really exceptional.
Here's Corey Lance going in for a basket. I thought we really played on all cylinders here. Here's, you know, Wes Leydig stepping in, knocking in the 3. And, you know, when you get a lot of different people involved in the offense, here's Caleb Leydig. You know, then you can't just double on William Walker. And again, our bench play has just been outstanding. Here's a great catch by William and a putback. And so, you know, we got out, played strong, got off to a big lead, and was able to really maintain that lead throughout the entire second half.
Why do we show that free throw? Because that was Mark Lettinga's 1,000th point as a Bethel Pilot. And the coach on the sidelines, maybe a little concerned that Goshen could make a run in the second half, but look at the board work done by Bethel. Absolutely dominating the glass in this one. Walker with another tip. He would have 24 points and 11 rebounds, but there were far more highlights to come. Should have been a goaltend there, but Tyler Brown tips it in. And then my man Derek Moser is going to be coming up here pretty soon after Leydig drains another 3. He's been really strong since you put him in the starting lineup.
You know, he does so many things for us, not only at the offensive end where you saw there, but he's doing a lot of good things from the defensive end. And you know, he can just take over a game for us. And, you know, when we shoot well from the perimeter like we did against Goshen, that really sets things up for us that we can get the ball inside. And here's Derek knocking in that big 3 for us, automatic from that spot on the floor. And, you know, once we can get him the ball in that spot, it is 3 points for sure.
Lettinga hit hard there in the end, but cooler heads would prevail. So, too, with the Pilots. 91-59 the final in this one. Walker with his signature double-double. Christian school like Bethel never wants to talk about revenge. But Spring Arbor did hang a loss on the Pilots earlier in the year, and now they had to come to the White Camp Center. So whatever you want to call it, Bethel was ready for this one on Tuesday night.
And we're going to call it revenge, because I think that's the right thing to call it. You know, Spring Arbor has been a team that we have really struggled with over the last 4 or 5 years. And you know, we just find that they do so many things well, and they do a great job of shooting the basketball. Here's a great pass at William Walker inside to Joey Welsh. But, you know, this was a game that it was going to be a tough game. It was going to be a game where I felt like the first half we didn't play as well. But once again, we just have different people step up, and for the first half it was Caleb Leydig knocking down 3s for us, and then it was Stephen Ward giving us great minutes. And you know, when you get that combination of different people on different nights, I know it's got to drive some of our conference foes crazy.
Nice pass here by Ryan Lightfoot for the 3 for Leydig, who, as you mentioned, was really prolific in that first half. But you mentioned Stephen Ward. Here he is, and he really gives you a spark. He's getting better and better every game out.
Well, confidence. You know, I think that's a key for him as you make that transition into the college game. You have to have confidence in what you do. I thought that you know, he's just come in and really given us a big lift off the bench with his quickness, his ability, you know, to score from the perimeter, but also to pass. And there was a statement by William a great slam dunk in the second half to get us rolling.
Yeah, when you can do that, you can play with confidence. Great pass there by Ryan to Mark. He brought some emotion and passion to the game. Those are things that you always talk about with this ball club, Coach. And they had it in the second half of this game with Spring Arbor, and it proved to be critical.
Well, we got up to a 10-point lead, but we knew that Spring Arbor was going to come back. I talked to their coach before the game. I think their last 5 or 6 possessions of games have decided wins for them. And so, it kind of boiled down to that same situation again in this game, but William knocked in some big shots. And we made our free throws, Chuck, down the stretch. And anyone will tell you if you hit free throws, you're going to be in ball game.
If you watched our game on TV 46 last week, you got to see Derek Moser come in, score 5 points against the Leafs of Goshen. But it's not just the contribution that he makes on the court. He makes a terrific one off the court as well, really motivating and inspiring his teammates and doing a terrific job in practice as well. Derek joins us on this week's edition of Inside Bethel Basketball. Congratulations on the outing against Goshen, but talk to me about what your Bethel experience has been like, because you came in here certainly a young man that had a lot of caliber coming out of high school, a lot of cachet. It's been a little bit of a different story for you, but you've kept your spirits up. Why do you see yourself as such an important contributor to this team?
Well, it's just my role on the team. I really care about all the guys on the team, and just that's one way to show that I love them and whatnot. And one of my coaches before told me you can't control a lot of things, but you control your attitude and your effort. And that's one thing I always want to control, and so I always try to give 100% effort and get my attitude in check.
In talking to the other players on the team too, Derek, they really have a lot of respect for you and how much you push them to get better on the practice floor.
Yeah, it's just that's what coaches always talk to me about. He goes, your job here in practice is to push all the guards, all the guys to go 100%. So in the game, that the game's easier than the practices and whatnot. And I think that's one thing that we've been able to do as a group is just make games easier so we can eventually win.
There's nothing that bothers a coach more than a malcontent, and there's nothing a coach appreciates more than a young man that may not play a lot but pushes his teammates.
I tell you, in 30 years, Chuck, this is a guy that just bought into being a special guy. He's the captain of our bench, and he does a great job not only motivating himself, which I think is a big challenge, but also motivating the other guys and making sure that they're doing the job and making sure that they're ready to play and making sure that they're going to contribute either by playing or by cheering or by being a person that you can count on, and that's exactly what's happening.
Derek used the same phrase that Tony Natale used to describe himself, Coach, and that is knowing your role. And certainly you'd love to be able to play everybody, but the rules say you can only play 5 at once. So talk about what his role is as you see it.
Well, the key thing that he has done a great job is getting his teammates motivated, from practice, making sure his role in practice is to be one of the better players on the other team and making sure that his teammates run the offense, making sure that they know exactly what is expected of them on the bench. I think lots of times it's hard for college players. They've all been stars in high school, but he's one that always is there for them, encouraging them. During a timeout, during a dead ball, he's the first one off the bench right there is a great example of how he gets to his teammates and encourages them.
Derek, you're 6'4", 200-pound guard out of Highland, Indiana. You're majoring in physical education. Mike talks a lot about players making an impact where they live. Where do you see yourself making an impact 5, 10 years down the road?
I eventually want to coach, so I think that the coaching and teaching aspect will be huge, and just impacting the high schoolers or middle schoolers or whatever age I'm going to be teaching, just impacting their lives and trying to just encourage them and just try to make them the best human beings that they possibly can be.
You haven't tried to dissuade him from that profession?
Not when you find great people like Derek Moser. You want him to be involved in coaching and teaching and making an impact, because you know that he will have a tremendous influence on a lot of people's lives in the near future.
And a phys ed major, I assume that with coaching you want to do some teaching as well.
Right, yeah, I want to teach, and with that, and just try to make the kids a little healthier and just a little more physically active, I guess. So.
And from a spiritual side, what has Bethel done for you?
Oh, it's iron sharpens iron, and that's exactly what it's been. Growing up, I never really had any good Christian friends. It was just I was the only one around, so just being around a lot of Christians and the fellowship that you have, it's awesome to see guys that are in the same thing that you are and that they have the same beliefs.
Well, Derek, thanks a lot for joining us on this week's show. You play a very integral role on this team, and it's certainly appreciated. But